Hi everyone, my name is Rishi. I live here in Toronto, Canada. Me and my wife, we immigrated to Canada in the month of November 2018. That is last year we both came on PR, that is permanent residence. So in the process of applying for a permanent residence, we gained some information and I thought that it would be helpful for everyone looking or seeking information how to apply for a PR. So the question is, what should we do? Should we directly go to a consultant or should we do some of our own research first? So I would suggest that a primary inspection or some information you need to have before you go to a consultant, and that is, are you eligible to get a PR or not? So how do we determine that? There is a simple online tool to calculate your CRS score. CRS stands for Comprehensive Ranking System. So through that you get a score as an individual, and twice a month Canadian immigration bodies, they release a cutoff score that anyone having a score above that given score, which these days in 2019 I have seen it is coming out to be around 460 to 70, it varies. So if your score is more than 450, 60 or whatever normally the cutoff score is going on, then yes, you are eligible. So how do you calculate that score? We will see that in this video. So how to see the CRS cutoffs? So here it is, express entry round of invitations. If we come here, scroll down, and you can see that the last cutoff went on December 11 and it was 472, and around 3,200 candidates got the invite. If you scroll down, here is a quick stats that how many candidates are at what particular CRS score range. So for example, if you look at this thing, 601 to 1200, there were 715 candidates. So these candidates, most likely they are the ones who received a PNP nomination, because otherwise I don't think there is any way one can score more than 600. Then 450 to 600, there are 15,000 candidates. 400 to 450, there are 40,000 candidates. So this way you will get an idea where you land, and if with every draw 3,000 candidates are getting the invite, then what your chances are. But anyways, if your score is greater than 472, you are getting the invitation. And also you can see the trend. See here, see previous rounds. So you click here and you can see that, okay, this time it went to 471. Before this it was 472, and before that it was 475. So we can see that CRS score is, most of the time it is 470 plus. And then this is 357. This is different. This cannot be that federal. Okay, so here it is federal skilled trades. So it is different. It's a different category. If you don't belong to this category, then this is not for you. So most likely it's not for you. And further we see 464. So yes, so it went to as low as 462 in 460. So if your score is 460 plus, then you have pretty good chances that you'll get the invite. So here you can find the CRS scores. And next we will move on to see how to calculate your own CRS score. So CRS score, search it on the Google and you come on to this link. Click here. Okay, so let's start taking a case. For example, it's a couple and the primary applicant is of say 29 years old. So what is your marital status? Married. Is your spouse or common law partner a citizen or permanent resident of Canada? No. Will your spouse or common law partner come with you to Canada? Yes. How old are you? So let's say it is 29 years old. What is your level of education? Earned a Canadian degree diploma or had an educational credential assessment. So there are bodies which evaluate your education credentials. So let's say wheresoever you have done your studies, if you're masters or whatever, then you need to send your papers to get ECA done. So let's say your masters and Canadian equivalence is also masters. Have you earned a Canadian degree? Let's say no. Official languages, yes, you have given language test. And let's say, Amen, that you will be giving a language test. So see what, if you score the best possible marks, what will be your total CRS score. So let's go with some a good score, that is 778 is the minimum that you need to make it through. The exam is IELTS, speaking 7, listening 8, reading 7, writing 7. So a quick information here. So if you look at this score is 7, 7, 7, and 8. This is the score you really need to come close to the cutoff or score more than cutoff. If you score even a half a band less than these numbers, your score will be reduced by 50 points almost. So if this is not 8, instead it is 7.5, you will notice there is a huge impact on your total CRS score just because of half a band. So I'll make it 8 again. Do you have other language results? Not applicable. Work experience the last 10 years. How many years of skilled work experience in Canada do you have? Please be careful with this entry. This is not asking your total experience, it's asking your experience in Canada, which most likely would be none. And this is your wheresoever you work in whichever country in last 10 years. So for 3 years you will get the maximum point. So let's say it is 3 years. Do you have a certificate from Canadian province or territory or federal body? No. Additional points, labor market impact assessment? No. Do you have a nomination certificate from a province or territory? No. Do you or your spouse, common law partner, have at least one brother, sister living in Canada? No. What is the highest education for which your spouse or common law partner has ECA done, educational credential assessment? So let's say it is bachelor's. In last 10 years, how many years of skilled work experience in Canada does your spouse in Canada? So most likely it would be none. Did your spouse or common law partner take a language test? Let's say yes, and it is IELTS. Let me tell you here that if your partner has given IELTS exam, it does increase your total score, but the impact is not huge. So as I said earlier, you need to score 778, that is 7, 7, and 8. Whereas if your spouse scores even 6 plus and all, it's good enough. And even if she or he scores 7, 8, 9, it won't make a big difference in your total CRS score. So let me keep it an easy IELTS score. So let's calculate your score now based on the inputs you have provided. Calculate your score. So it has various sections: human capital factor, spouse factor, skill transferability, and here is your total score. So grand total, your total score is 462, which is not a bad score. We have seen that in the last few draws, cutoff went more than 470, but then we did see cutoff for the previous few draws, it was less than 462. So if this is your score, you have pretty good chances that you will get an invite, and sooner or later you will get your PR. But if your score is significantly lower than this, then you already know that there is nothing much you can do, because the primary contributor of the scores were: one, your IELTS score; second, your education. If you were masters, you scored much more than that. Maybe it added 50 points or something. And then it was your age. Point is, there is nothing much you can do to increase your score. So if you haven't scored close to 460, then still you have chances, because there are alternatives. For example, provincial nomination. So for that, you will have to collect more information. But now with this score and this information, you know what you need to ask to the consultant. So I suggest that first thing you need to do is give your IELTS exam, see what your score is, and once you have scored decently, then and only then you can think of your next steps. So thanks everyone for listening and viewing this video. If you have any questions, do comment on this video and I'll try to answer your questions wheresoever. I mean the links that we have accessed, I'll copy those links in under the video here.